internally or whatever.
Sure.
I'm gonna pop this open. This is going to be reconciling errors. We can talk about that afterwards. Submitted. Shit. What was
the legal terminologies?
Oh yes, there it is. Thank you, thank you. For everybody, it's going to be 25711 to pull up the document. Oh, before I forget, we wanted to get a couple more tags added to increase the workflow. Michael, you're going to have to help me with this because I actually forgot. It was passed, rejected, submitted. And the reason for that is we'd like to use like pending, like to mean like it's internally being worked on by us collectively or the individual legislative bodies, but submitted means like it's now on City Hall. For those who weren't here during the ask about the bill tags, what that means is like when we go into reports, like, you know, it makes it easier to find things, right? So,
yeah, if you just want to give us the name, the icon you want, and then like what colors.
I could.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then maybe, is there another one we need, Michael? Like a review or something? Like ready for review, bill ready for review?
For internal workflow?
Yeah.
I think that'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like bill work in progress or WIP.
Well, pending, I'm starting to not like the phrase pending. Pending could mean many different things. Maybe, you know what? Let's cook that afterwards because I forgot Michael time. So I want to give you guys
make a bill submitted one.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I want to give you guys the floor on this since like we wrote this and we're like open to, I will give just a high level summary. The intention as spoken about in previous meetings was, hey, there is a everyone has different backgrounds, right? And that's good. That makes San Andreas a very diverse society. But when it comes to law, it can bring a lot of, it can sort of obfuscate and confuse conversations, especially when it comes to legal matters. For example, actually, a really great example is where Michael's from. You know, there's certain Canadian laws that I never knew about. So we were talking about like stop signs and shit. And I'm thinking Michael's crazy. He's thinking I'm crazy. Reality is it's just on little things. Canada does things a little bit different than America. Right. Now, when it
comes, then you get Tony with China's law.
Yeah, very true. So when it comes to things like things as simple as reasonable suspicion, probable cause, beyond a reasonable doubt, etc., and even internally to the United States, things that are true in Massachusetts are not true in California that are not true in Florida, right? So when it comes to things like beyond a reasonable doubt, probable cause, precedence, letter of the law, reasonable person, etc., etc., we are not just those in this room, but law enforcement, you know, citizens, defense attorneys. They have variance in their understanding of those words, and without the standardization of it, it kind of grays out and it creates a very gray area around something that shouldn't be gray. We do not have the privilege to have the American, like 250 years of the American Supreme Court rulings to back these. Yep. So we said, hey, let's put this shit in place through the lens of the spirit of what makes it, what was intended based on the American legal system. If need be, some sprinklings of California, in order to come to a digestible definitions that will be the basis by which we review everything else. With that said, we are very open and understanding that in future, these things could migrate. like, or not could evolve, and that's good. But we wish to have the litmus test for any of these core legal definitions to be backed by Western American legal philosophy. And the reason for that standard is not to, put one country above another or nothing like that, but we need
Needs to be based somewhere, right?
exactly. What is it? Operandus, modus operandi. Yeah. Yeah. Because yeah. So,
the couple notes I had on this, most of the actual definitions I think are pretty good. The only definition that I think could maybe use some work is precedent, because precedent is used a bit differently, because in the Constitution it says justice is set precedent, and then this definition is talking about like lower courts and higher courts and stuff like that, and that's not what we have. So it could someone coming in fresh off the boat, they might read that and think this is working in a system that doesn't exist.
Before we address that, and I agree, Murray, when I put that down, what I mean is if the case is overseen by a magistrate, let's say, I would assume that the appeal would go to a higher ranking member of the judiciary.
Yeah,
is that correct? So that when I say levels of court, that's what I'm implying in this case.
Yeah, I just, you're not wrong.
But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, they may confuse it with district, circuit, supreme.
And this is maybe just a preference thing for me, but I think like you've got probable cause at D, which says a reasonable person would believe, but then reasonable person isn't defined until later. To me, it would be better, like, if you're going to define something, define it before it gets used, then
very good
the
point.
person doesn't,
There is something else I'd like to add in there, and I actually like this lower courts in yellow or whatever. One thing I think we should do is anytime we reference a defined, at least, I don't think this needs to be across all our legislation, but in here, one thing that would be good is anytime we should bold italicize when we reuse a already defined term in this document. And if possible, that's standard in future legal documents, if and when we get time. Or alternatively, we should throw a what is it called? The
reference? Is that
oh no, not ref. So in here, I wouldn't mind if we bold italicize, and that's our standard, or maybe it's a color code, which I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, we have it. Why not? So people know, oh, that's a legal definition, not just saying it randomly. You get what I'm saying? And then maybe this might be overcooking a little bit. We throw a clerk at going back at our previous legislation. Anytime there's a legally defined word in here, like they go back and like fucking use the same highlight. What do you think? Would that be useful? So that anyone who's reading it is like, oh, it's that color. That means it's legally defined. Let me go back.
Yeah, I like that.
We can call it a hyper MDT link. Yeah. And then we can ask, Nick. Oh my God. Nathaniel Nick Simone asking for quality of life. I'm gonna ask him to give us hyperlinks in that link. This is where you click the hyperlink in a text and it pops open the reference. Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean,
that'd actually be really good.
That functionality already kind of exists, because then like tag people, and if you click that tag, it takes you to the person's profile.
Oh.
We just need that for report numbers.
Oh my God. I would ideally like it in a different style because that does make it look ugly.
In terms of like other stuff to be added, things like civil law terms, things like preponderance of evidence, liability, damages, different types of damages, punitive, compensatory, stuff like that. Hi, Princess.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Oh shit! I can't open the. I won't stop typing for just a second or clicking. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Sorry, you were saying, Mark?
In terms of like civil law terms, things that can be put there is like preponderance of evidence, liability, damages, different types of damages, punitive, compensatory, stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. We actually have a massive list, and what we tried to pull out of here are the most critical, and we want to keep cooking on that. And
It was tell us what that list is, so we can.
It's a
share
county
the bottom, I
document
guess.
right now, but I think I'll turn it into a shared document that we could use as a run.
ooh, hell yeah.
Well, I know the justices can see everything just in case. So, but I know judges might not be able to see this, so
I'll make
Yeah,
it a
good.
shared report. That's fine.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I thought you guys were gonna come with some hot hitting like curveballs, unless you're holding them back.
Not really. A lot of these are reasonable definitions. Nothing that stood out apart from the precedence thing.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is
Yeah,
really
that's-
good feedback, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I got caught up on as well was that. But other than that, no. Like going through everything the other day, I was just kind of it all makes sense, It's what we know already and what we follow.
Yeah, because like the two big things we want to work on is those in search and seizure rework, and then a rework of due process, and a lot of this stuff was going to be in it, so it being defined already to go into the rework is good.
Yep. Yeah. I think we're doing I am hoping that a lot of these efforts are going to be saved in a time capsule for future. I think this is as someone who's been a defense attorney for 25 years, this is the kind of shit that's been needed forever, because these are things
Like
that
this should be the baseline, not
yeah, exactly
happen in 18 months later.
Yeah, because otherwise, over those last 25 years, these simple things have been taking up hours and hours of debate that takes away from interesting conversation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there was I'm really hoping so. That is definitely something I would also advocate for externally. As anything else on this?
Do not believe so.
Oh shit! All right, fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good on it, honestly.
Michael, let's make a note here somewhere.
Yep.
Is that, as I sort of mentioned earlier, because this is more of so I think that there should be an explicit note in this, given that this is sort of a primary source to every other piece of legislation, that in order for any alterations to this document, any additions or whatever, it needs to go through extreme scrutiny. And if it goes against the spirit of what is defined, it should come with some references to the the American legal system, something like that, kind of to what I was saying earlier, because once again, there needs to be a modus operandi. So in other words, in future, someone doesn't come around and be like, well, reasonable doubt should actually just be simplified to, I thought that was happened, right? Some bullshit like that, or that, spirit of the law is just, I don't know. You get what I'm saying? There should be some sort of definitive check to make sure we don't get some SBS that gets thrown in here.
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, what do y'all think? To that point I just made.
No, I agree 100%. Just so that stuff doesn't get fucked with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a good backup. So it's just not like if there's a whole set of new people who just want to turn all these definitions upside down, they need to have a good reference for it.
Yeah. Yep.
So you mean I don't get to introduce the Scottish verdict of not proven?
Wait, what is that?
That's actually a good one. I wouldn't mind.
Legally, it's no different than not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Scotland, we have 3 verdicts. You've got guilty, not guilty, or not proven.
Oh, we have something similar, which I'm surprised and don't know the why. We in America we have fucking oh my god, Sean, anybody help me here? Fucking this guilty, not guilty, and
No contest.
no contest. Yes.
Well, no contest is different though. No contest, you're like, it wasn't me, but I can't prove that it wasn't me.
Yeah. Wait, so what is the Scottish one?
The Scottish one is
not proven. It's what the jury will come back with. Guilty, not guilty, or not proven. Legally, it's no different than not guilty. It's just a way of saying, you probably did it, but we can't say you did. They didn't prove it. Versus, we don't think you did it, which is not guilty.
Wait, so what does that mean? Like in terms, like what would be the next step? Like, is it over at that point?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's basically saying there's reasonable doubt, but we don't think you're innocent.
So like O.J. Simpson would have gotten
probably
that.
Yeah, that's it's kind of like the inverse of no contest.
What do you mean? The glove didn't fit.
Not kidding.
You must have quit.
Oh man. Okay, cool. What else do we got coming? We got the resolving redundancies coming through. We just have to add a fine and time to it. This is going to be 25762. What it does is we reviewed the that penal code Excel sheet, and we're like, okay, which ones do we agree should have been removed? And that's going to be removal of first degree robbery, leaving without paying, possession of bands of notes and small bands of notes, removal of unauthorized operation of an off-road vehicle, which mind you, there's justifications written in there. This is something that we'll send your way as well. And ideally I think we should do a 48-hour, come back with anything sort of thing, just so we can, go
Momentum.
type
Yeah.
thing. Mm-hmm. Then add failure to stop. I'm gonna make a note on this. So there's a whole debate. I would actually, to be honest, it wasn't too much of an in-city debate. It was mostly like my fucking chat GPT flaring off. We have this catch-all charge of failure to obey a traffic control device. And I'm like, what the fuck even is a traffic control device? And I think it's mostly my upbringing. I'm from Boston. That's like not a thing. like it might be somewhere deep in the whatever, but when you get ticketed, it's like, you know, it is failure to stop, failure to yield, you know, running a red light. They're all like very, very explicit things. And
Yeah, that's why we got rid of the traffic control devices one, because like this and failure to stop is the same thing. Why not just have one charge?
wait, sorry, say again. I missed it.
Like when we did the penal code change before,
Mhm.
like we just took the failure to make traffic control device and put the definition into failure to stop, and then got rid of it because it didn't make sense to have two charges for basically the same time.
So I'm actually advocating that it gets added. And I'm gonna sort of lay out my argument for this and why I think it's very, very valuable to San Andreas. We have a problem where oh god. The value of
already as a child, right?
give me a sec.
It does. Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we expanding on this one?
Read this.
We are. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're expanding this is a expansion. Sorry. It's like adding clauses and whatnot. Generally, yeah, the direction that we're reviewing, like some of these traffic laws, is that there should be many charges: failure to yield, failure to stop, failure to turn traffic control into actually more of red light. And the reason for that is traffic is good. Traffic generates meaningful things that this city is all about. And we want to expand on that while making sure that those charges are not predatory. Predatory in the sense that they are, like, for example, I would not want a charge like broken taillight for obvious reasons, because some people see it, some people don't see it, right? Like weird shit. But at the same time, yeah, so I think we're already on the same page on this. Is there any concerns about adding more of these?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Easy. We
I think if you wouldn't mind expanding, Nino, one of the reasons that you brought this up in the first place and adding more of these was for articulation, right?
yes, that is another good point. Very, very true. When a defense attorney, if we think about, unfortunately, not a lot of traffic stops occur from my observations. They happen occasionally, but not at the rate that they used to. Traffic inherently is how most crime is, probably like how an investigation begins.
So Ted Bundy got caught.
Very true.
That is true.
Yes. Yeah. Well, even OJ, right? Didn't they? He had already fled. They had to go find the guy, right? If someone wasn't patrolling and searching, like boom, boom. But then there's like the notion of, and this is kind of why we wrote in the recent law where law enforcement has to like write down the reason for detainment and articulate it, because people were doing some of the most egregious rights violations where like a cop would go and just like target somebody because they're bored or they want to be vengeful and come up post facto with a reason for the detainment, which is gross. But because it was happening, we put in that law. But in the same vein, someone might have some shit in there, right? But it doesn't mean you can just like go in there for whatever reason. So by having the sort of these charges in place, it's not only giving the PD the tools, but it's also allowing defense attorneys to properly defend against the specific violations that may have escalated to, say, a search, as opposed to what may be a hodgepodge charge, right? Where, you know, if there was a singular charge, it's like, well, they did a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, so give it to me, right? It's just, it can lead to a very, I don't know, vagueness. It makes it too catch-all, right? So, all right.
Yeah, no wrong.
Okay. We also added battery of a government official. Michael, remind me why we did this.
It was
Tony?
in the penal code thing we did. It was a child we introduced.
Yeah,
Yeah, the idea behind that one was that attempted murder was too serious, and
Agreed.
Regular assault and battery isn't really enough when you're beating down a cop or somebody.
You know what? And that was exactly our reasoning. I think we had some internal debate, like people and cops are the same, so why should beating a cop be worse? And I did say, well, you know, you beat up the cop, and now you're pulling cops away, and now that's leading to
wasting city resources.
Yeah,
and other people are now left unprotected. But yeah, that's what we got.
Thing if you beat up
road.
a doctor or EMS or a judge or a clerk or anything like
Very
that.
true.
City resources.
Very true. Okay. Any questions about that document? And then we'll move on to the next. All right, easy.
No.
We have the Los Santos Unified Business Act that's going to be pushed forward. That's going to be combining 5 pieces of legislation into one. So once again, continue working in that, like, sort of, simplify, direction where it simplifies things. This is still of need of internal review. I need to look over it just to make sure it wasn't overtly, condensed. It makes things a lot more bullet pointed than what was previously in there. And it's going to be covering everything from taxation, financial oversight, special business types, specific areas of businesses, licensing, zoning, etc. So that one will probably get posted end of week, I think.
Yeah, and then we should have another coming tomorrow that's gonna put all our grant programs into one piece of legislation as well.
Yes.
Before I step out, I do want to say, as we go through this exercise, and this is particularly to the DOJ, Sean and Murray, if there is state level legislation that you want to see collapsed, obviously feel free to take the lead on that. But if you want the assistance from our office, never hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help with those exercises as well.
100%. Appreciate it.
Oh, before you go, Michael, actually, to lead up to that, we really, that actually brings forward the things we want to do around weapons. I don't know the why. I forgot what the weapon reason was. Something around weapons we need to cook on.
Weapons and contraband were 2 of the topics.
Yeah, there was something. So we want to effectively make like take the weapons registry one, all the stuff around weapons, driver's license, and combine it into a singular one. There is a reason for it, not only because it collapses things, but there is a, get the hunting one in there, the state one, get the weapons license one in there, and marriage license. Well, marriage license? Fuck, I don't remember the reason why. There was a reason why we wanted to collapse everything into weapon. I don't remember why, though. Is it because weapons aren't, there's no legislative backing on it? EMPs. That's why.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Right. Weapons are not scheduled.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So we would like to take lead on writing a condensed form of it and turning it more into a scheduled one. Because if you look at the weapon and driver's license legislation today, it's kind of cooked. It's actually very cooked.
I think one of the definitions they have is like, if I remember right, it's like really fucked. Or like technically a single auto AR is single auto. A single action AR is not a class 2 or something like that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and there's also like usage restrictions. The 1911 may be used for self-defense lawful. Like it kind of like, it's odd, right? Like I think what it is like we've advanced our legislation so much that the license one kind of like is a bit in conflict or may not be outlining other things. So to give you an example of what we're thinking is, here's a driver's license. This is what it means. This is, it needs to be up to date. This is what it's granting. These are the privileges granted to you. In the same vein, that's what the weapons license can be, right? It can be, here are the privileges. Here are the weapons that are unprivileged, right? Or may have higher levels of restrictions. Going back to the driver's license one, it can make way for things like, once you have X amount of points or whatever, but you can avoid getting these points if there is, in a driving school. I don't know. Like, it's more, here are the licenses and this is what they're about is kind of what we're getting at.
Yeah.
It allows for a lot of future expansion if desired.
Anything else for me before I step away? I will take that as a no.
All right. Fuck yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Take it easy.
And I think that's everything we're posting. So, boom, boom.
All right. Perry, you got anything?
One second, I need some water.
Okay.
Alright. Sorry about that. Currently I'm working on the dosage reworking and stuff with the help of Michael, who is helping me format it, so it's a little bit
Yeah, it's
easier to
very
split
go,
into
go, go, go,
bills
go,
and
go, go.
What else? I have an amendment for HSA that I'm working on that is almost ready to be posted, which is basically for the changes with the medical account.
I love your debate spirit, but they're
and
telling you they're happy.
stuff
Stop.
like
Then ask for
that.
more. Wait, what do you mean, Kenny? We're just
trying to think.
yeah, we
of other
cooking.
things.
Did we ever figure out who's in charge? Like, are you in charge? Is the board in charge? Like, what?
Let's see. You want to open it up? Come on, Perry. Come
I
on.
do. I really do.
They hate. Technically written in the Constitution, I have oversight over SAMA, and I have to work side by side by the board of directors. But technically, on a technicality, it's not written down.
What's not written down? What do you think is not written down? And I will tell you that you're wrong.
No, it's just about like who is over the EMS and the board of directors. Sorry, but this is a week worth of frustration that has just come out of me.
Yeah.
Maybe 2
So
weeks.
I know when we've talked, you've had your concerns of if you push something forward legislatively that asserts that you are the top of your branch, which it says in the Constitution.
Yeah.
That they might fire you. And I'm telling you that will end very poorly for the board if they fire you for submitting legislation.
We're all so you guys would stand by me if they did try to do that.
I would absolutely stand by.
But
Not to be,
wait, what was that? What was that, Mark?
no, I'm just hold on. I'm just reading the definition again.
Because all she has
Representing
to
the
do is
interests of all
legislate.
medical factions. Medical professionals is defined as a doctor or mental health professional employed by the LSMG. Does the LSMG even exist?
No, that's what
No.
we also need to fix. We also need to fix that wording in the Constitution because it's the San Andreas Medical Group, not the Los Santos Medical Group, and it got changed. I think literally a week or two after the Constitution got rewritten.
I'll
What's the
help her
authority of
out,
the
chat.
legislation
I'll help her.
regarding health and its procedures?
But it's important we let her cook.
Will be responsible for
first,
representing
you
all
know what I
medical
mean?
professions fairly. So if the authority will guide legislation regarding health and its procedures across the state, that means that the director of that authority is the highest level in that branch.
Well, you see, that's what I've been saying, but I don't know about any of the other you guys in this room, the mayors, but I feel like them removing her for putting legislation that
That's
properly
instant
establishes.
impeachment.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
borderline
dumbest thing they
treason.
could do. I
It's literally
agree.
borderline treason.
Yeah, it would be like one of y'all guys just taking Turner's keys one day because he pissed you off, you know?
Yeah,
Or like
it's literally. Oh,
That would
Isn't that
be
the fun
fun.
part
though.
about it?
What's that?
Isn't that the fun part about it? Just taking Turner's keys just randomly?
oh my god. I don't know where they went, man. Like
I just they just must have slept on the side of the couch.
You know,
I'm so sorry.
Lost my keys.
yeah, right with this. I don't know what's going on.
oh, yeah, no, Perry. It's like I've told you before. I don't think there's a person in this room that would allow you to simply be fired and that be the end of it. I think it would be the end of the board before it would be the end of you.
Also, yeah, because it's not just the board; it's also like the EMS, how they are going to react. Because right now,
there's sort of I'll tell you why I don't think you should worry. If people want to quit the PD, the EMS, etc., for some crybaby shit, yeah, there's the door. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that energy is needed to keep toddlers in place because there's only so. And I'm not saying that EMS is toddlers or whatever, but but there needs to be a line, right? Because we're talking about things that are, it's this situation, like the most recent one, is turning into the dasMEHDI problem. And I'll explain what that means for those who are not aware.
Probably a few of those.
Well, this particular one is a year ago, the police department set an entire month figuring out what should happen to dasMEHDI over some situation. So for that month, it turned into drama throughout the PD, and ultimately it took 30 days to figure out what the fuck to do with him. There was no good value that came out of that. It became unnecessary headache for everybody, right? And so without a head, without somebody that has ownership and responsibility and where does the buck stop on, it's turning into the same thing, right? And it's kind of shitty regardless of whether, in this particular case, that individual is guilty or not guilty. They're now the center of what should happen instead of, the punitive measure gets taken and everybody fucking moves on, right?
But needless to say, I don't think you should be worried about. I mean, I personally, I wouldn't even recognize them if they said that they fired you. I'm like, oh, what authority are you firing an elected official over? that's like me going and saying, "Oh yes, I just fired Nino Chavez," and you're fired as the mayor.
I mean, to be honest, if they fired her, wouldn't we just give her keys back anyways?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what? I wouldn't recognize it. I'd be like, "Oh, here are your keys. I don't know why you lost them, but."
I hear medical liaison. I hear the PD running in here saying medical liaison. They've been wanting to poach me for a while.
Oh my god!
I don't know. I think I could speak confidently. The Department of Justice would not recognize them firing you because you posted legislation.
Yep, and neither would my office.
Ditto.
Yeah. I'll get something worked out by the end of this week. Because
if you're also worried about how EMS will react to it, I mean, it's the law. The Constitution says that. Like,
so they maybe should have put forward a candidate if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, it literally says they can. So
yeah,
that's also another reason why
they should have put someone up.
That's also the reason why the HSA is me taking back oversight over the medical account. It's underneath just the summer director, so I don't have to jump through any hoops and ladders to ask for more than a certain amount of money if needed.
Yeah, no, that's just asinine. It's like either the mayor's having to ask somebody for money, like out of their own account, like they own the account. And if the board didn't want you to be the SAMA director, like Murray said, they should have put someone forward.
Well, let's not forget, like, can't anybody go up? Am I tripping? Or like,
anybody.
Nobody else wanted the role, so it's like, fuck off. Like, I'm sorry. Like, two in a back to back, right? Nobody else wanted to step up. It's just like, fuck off, you know? It's just, Jesus.
Right? I think it's even beyond that. I mean, didn't they endorse you? Like, they specifically didn't have anybody else run because they wanted you to take it. So, like,
I believe, like, I don't know myself. Like, I literally have talked to people going, like, you guys could do this. Like, you can do this. But they've never, like, nobody's taken on that ability to step up. Like, at all. Yeah, it's like, I've offered. It's like
you can't have the perks of power and not want to deal with everything that comes with it.
Yeah. It's that stepping stone of I want to do it, but I don't know what I'm doing type of thing. It's like I could teach you the ropes, but then they just disappear. So it's like,
well, yeah, if they want the, I mean, they could be a part of your like cabinet and show up at these meetings and learn.
That's why last week Sophia came, because she literally had interest of running last time, but she had only just been hired to the hospital, so she wanted to. So she wanted to. I said, come to a meeting and see how it is. And I said, if it throws you off, I apologize, but this is how it's going to be if you are in this seat. This is how it is when it comes to that stuff. And last week was pretty chill, so I don't think we scared her off. Hope.
But yeah, I mean, again, to Nino's point, literally, if they wanted someone else, then they should have ran.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Nino ran. That's why Prentice ran, because they wanted to win and they wanted to be the ones in charge.
Yes.
Wait, what did he say?
And I know none of us are about to let people, especially me, I'm not about to let nobody who don't come around try to tell you what to do.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Fucking shadow government bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, if the DOJ can do it, you can do it. I promise.
Okay, then that's something I'm gonna cook on. So I can probably get out.
That'll make your life a lot easier.
Yep.
Harry, you have my axe.
My sword.
Oh, fun toys.
What do we have?
We were left with the ball.
You guys, the sword's obviously my thing. Like, if
I'll
we all
say-
had to
I'll
have
say-
some weapon, that's kind of like, that's kind of my thing, you know?
Yep,
Yeah, that's
true,
why I
true.
didn't say it immediately.
Except the axe also kind of seems like a Blaine County thing.
Yeah, I guess what would mine be like that? You have my AR, you know?
Assault rifle, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it comes to it, the LSPD's got to deal with the treasonous organization, then I mean,
Yeah, so you've got my sword and axe, you've got Nino's AR, and then you've got the Justice's tank.
Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take those tanks any day.
And hey, in exchange, we get your scalpel.
Fair enough.
Oh my god.
In exchange, we get a head of the hospital that's actually around and does work.
You know, speaking of Perry, I see you at the hospital quite a bit, like doing doctor work too. So, it's not like you're just showing up for these meetings either. You're out there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I am technically also command of the hospital, so with 2 other people, and it's literally just the 3 of us who are running the day-to-day of the hospital. That's literally our role, is the day-to-day of the hospital, making sure it's all running steadily.
I do think, to spitball a little bit, I think a good way to structure that legislation, I would just specifically address saying that the SAMA director is the head of the board, and then what powers you have over selecting board members. I think that should be similar to how the mayors have chief of police
yeah,
and the sheriff, respectively.
actually, that's a great point. We were talking about that earlier today. Is like SAMA would be like the director. The SAMA director is the de facto head, but like if it, if written out is but they could concede that to someone that they put into that position. Like it'd be a choice, right? It'd be, if there was a desire for splitting a legislative and management, like, you know what I mean? So like in future, it's like, hey, you could do all yourself, or you could have someone do it, right?
Yeah.
But okay, cool.
And it's essentially like how the mayors have their cabinet. I mean, they have people that deal with different things for them. And that's how you would have with that. It's just having different board members deal with different things. Like you deal with legislative, they deal with administrative, or vice versa, or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the people elected you. And even though no one else ran, that still count. Because then that just shows that your department supports you, and then no one else wants to step up and do it.
I will give a heads up, they might try and coup me.
Well, okay.
Then that's treason.
That's treason. That's literally treason.
But I'm just giving you that heads up. I'm just
It
saying.
is coming up on July.
Yeah.
Also, so you're saying I should save it till around July and
No, Nina's having a barbecue on July 3rd, aren't you?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right.
Wait, what the fuck's happening?
What?
Oh my god.
Hey, for me and Sean, not our
The heck is
circus, not our
that?
monkeys.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Wash my hands.
Hey, what is that? What is that propaganda?
It looks like it.
Oh man, oh no.
Literally, guy wanted to buy an island in Blaine County, and I needed to sell it at a price. For the record, I didn't sell it for 12 million. I told him
Propaganda.
8 million, and then I actually brought it down to 6, but he was still not willing to pay for it. And if I sold an island for like $2 million, then everyone's gonna buy an island. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Oh man.
Island, no, I'm not even gonna.
It's got like some guy on the island. The guy lives there.
I mean, I went there. It was pretty good.
Yo, during the meeting.
We got some good islands up north.
Oh my
Prove that,
lord.
though. I swear to God, if that's AI, then I'm going to.
It is AI.
Gotta be AI. It's gotta be, yeah.
It is AI. He's told me.
You know, he's one of yours, isn't
That's
he?
crazy.
He is.
Well,
This
you know, this is
Nino's
a
cabinet.
this is
Whoa,
this
wait
is
a minute,
private
wait a
matter.
minute.
I'm not getting involved in that.
What is?
Yeah.
For the record,
Oh,
the
yeah,
reason I
that's-
was okay selling him the island for 6 million is because I've literally had like poor people buy things for me, you know, from me for more money because if they care about it enough, they can get the money together. And he literally runs an investment company.
To be fair, they don't make any money. It's
Neither
almost,
does Tripas.
yeah.
Like,
Wait,
I'm
what?
happy to like, you
Pretty
know,
cool island.
Oh.
if I'm selling things to people because they want to do cool stuff out of it,
Hey!
I'm super happy to do that. It's just you know, Blaine County only has so many islands. I don't know why I'm supposed to sell an island to everyone who wants one.
Wait,
But Tony, you see the
I
pictures,
what? Wait,
games?
I'm missing context. Wait,
Mhm.
what happened?
This is about Junior and the island.
Yeah, no, like
Junior asked to buy an island from Blaine County.
Yeah.
I gave him a price. He said, no, I don't want to pay that price. I reduced the price. He said, I still don't want to pay that price. I gave him an even lower price. He still didn't want to pay it. I was trying to help him as best as I could, but he didn't want to pay it. And so I said, okay, well then, I mean, if you don't want to buy the island, you don't want to buy the island. And then he's, you know,
but like Tree Pass wants to buy it. I'm confused.
no. I'm just saying that I sold the bodega in Sandy, the gas station, to Tripas for something like $4 million, so that they could run a mechanic shop out of it. And they don't have money, but they were able to like put together like enough different people who wanted to be involved and
What
get the money
the
together
fuck?
to Little Benny's, the mechanic shop. It's really nice. They've been doing really cool stuff with that.
What is she saying, brother? What?
When are they open?
What is she
All
saying?
the time. They're open. And the bodega serves food and everything.
What
Benny's
the? Listen,
uncle,
I fuck with
Sebas,
Tree Pass,
he
but
runs the
that's
counter,
insane.
producing some food, some Guarman food. So it's good
I
stuff.
have no idea
But yeah, like
why you
I've sold,
would
you know,
say that
properties
in-
and stuff to people for more money because they're excited to do cool things with it. And you know,
Wait,
I know that if he wanted to get the money together, he could. But I
told-
really don't know why he thinks I'm having a tantrum about it. Like, he's allowed to do whatever he wants on that island. He's just subject to the laws of public property.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Anyways. Yeah. Anyways. That Barry Island is taking Junior away from me.
Oh.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah?
That's
Yeah.
what he talks about now.
Mm.
He's sitting around with his, you know, tropical clothes and
There's a Hawaiian
Leaving our
shirt
Yeah, he
on
meetings.
does do
and
that.
yeah.
long hair that he grew out. Yeah.
I'm trying
I don't know how he-
to. I'm just
Good
trying
for
to.
him. I'm
anyways.
proud. I'm proud for him. I think it's a good transition, but
Yeah.
it's a whole island, yeah.
So, Perry, anything else? I think we left off with Perry, right? Question mark?
think Perry was done. I think.
I think that was everything. Yeah, because of HSA, yeah, oversight. I'm trying to think. One moment.
I mean, this is like Junior's thing, right? Like, I don't want to get too much into it, but I can't believe she just said, I sold a gang. Like, I sold the Ravens a gas station, right? But I ain't saying that in front of justices, bro. What the fuck? That's crazy. Uh, wait, what did she say?
I think that's everything for me.
Okay.
Princess, you have anything?
A couple things. Just to bring up. Number one, eminent domain stuff. I'm kind of stuck on since Barrett is gone. Because I maybe just need to cook on it, but I need to figure out whether it's possible to subpoena bank records of property owners just to see if they've done anything except pay property fees. So if they're spending months not buying food or drinks or
You can already
going
do that,
anywhere,
though.
doing anything.
You can already do that. If you just subpoena both county accounts, you can see where they paid taxes at.
Well, oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So I just need to find a new Barrett, and I've got one. I just need to. She needs to figure out how to do what he was doing. The other thing, and I'm just at risk of sounding like a broken record. Today is since Murray, you and I talked about this. So we were Blaine County was paid reimbursement for DOJ stuff. Wait another 3 days, and then because the sliders work on the 14-day, like 7-day, 14-day, etc. stuff. So I'm gonna send you a picture of the sliders on day 14, just to show like the past 2 weeks, and then because I don't want to keep nagging you guys to come to a decision on that stuff. But as long as
Oh, my
I'm
tab
keeping
crashed.
track of the numbers for now,
Sorry.
and then if you guys have, if you come to a decision on whether you guys want to continue doing like in advance, was that like just reimbursement? What's like reimbursement but without the re?
Yeah.
Reimbursement?
In advance.
I don't know. Yeah.
I do think the in relation to the DOC part of that, it being handled like the marshals makes a lot of sense, where there's a division of payment by the legislative authorities. Doesn't have to be equal, right? But it could be similar percentages we did with the marshals, which, by the way, they haven't asked for more money as far as I'm aware, which is
I
concerning.
don't think they have.
So that
And
you
the,
guys aren't footing the entire bill, but we'll foot some of it too, because at the end of the day, the
Right.
DOC is just like the marshals are currently, like, in a way, the state's baby, and we are effectively the state, right?
Yeah, I think I'm like keeping track this week of how much the DOC is making. Like, if they're making, I think currently is $1,900 an hour, then after a week it ends up being like $300-something thousand. And just because they're able to clock in and get paid per hour, it means that it's probably easier to bring you guys a number once a month or something, and be like, hey, this is how much DOC has been paid out. Can we figure out like a method of reimbursement to Blaine County for that, so that it's just retroactive version of what you said. The thing with the marshals that changed is that because there's so few marshals, it's easier to just say, okay, we're each gonna get paid a salary of this much money, and so we're just going to ask for that in advance, and then we're not going to clock on duty. We're just going to do work whenever and get paid that salary. The thing with DOC is that a lot of them work completely different amounts of hours, and so to say like, yeah, we'll give each of them $100,000 for a certain amount of time, it just means that it's going to end up, just some people are going to get completely underpaid, some people are going to get completely overpaid.
Wait, you're saying if we did a salary?
Yeah.
Yeah, but why not just at the beginning of every month, you look at the 30 days and you capture that?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just saying, it'll have to be reimbursement so that we can see after a month how much they were paid, because every month is completely different.
yeah. There's another way as well is, Sean, stop me if this is too much, but we can pull that data. Right?
Clock-in data?
Yeah. If it was once a month, I wonder if that'd be feasible.
But I mean, I can do it once a month. Like if I look today, then I can show you,
you
exactly how much has been spent in the past.
I mean, similar to how, because I've asked this in the past. Sean knows more on this, but we asked for clock-in data. Oh yeah, because Tony is a lawyer and also an attorney, so we couldn't figure his stuff out, and we were able to pull how many hours was he clocked in as the cabinet, and the same vein, we can figure out clock-in times for the DOC. It does mean delayed payment, but it also means like accurate paychecks that they'd receive like every 2 weeks, every month, or whatever, the pull date was.
That would be nice. I mean, honestly, that might be nice for my cabinet too, because none of us are getting paid right now.
What does that mean? With the clock-in time? Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Because it's based on like whether the county's up or down. So I think my paycheck for the past week was like $100.
Bro, we're talking, brother. Can we just talk about the poor fucking DOC for a second? God damn. All right. Okay.
But yeah, we can figure out the stuff with the DOC. I'm like I said, I'm keeping track. I'm gonna
the
see
problem is every conversation is like, like we're talking about DOC for a minute, and it's like, yo, but how does this make? I want a solution, but I want a solution where I'm getting more money in my pocket. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the better way. The better way is to go over the reimbursement route, especially for our stuff as well. Just that
I don't know how we keep pivoting over.
But
the only reason why the reimbursement is difficult, Sean, is just that like with the amount of money that Blaine County has in our account currently, it's not an outlandish thought to be concerned that without the reimbursement we'll go under at some point if there's an especially busy month where a bunch of judges and justices are around.
Well, I'm not saying it would be like a monthly thing. It would probably just be a weekly thing.
Oh yeah. In that case, then that'll work. That's kind of what we were doing before the changes. So
we could we'll do the 14 days just so that you can properly get reimbursed for the days that you've been missing, and then beyond that we'll just do the 7 days every time, and then you give us that, and then we give you the money.
That sounds good. I just have to make sure that I'm doing my best to stay exactly on the same the same minute every week. But I can do that. Set an alarm.
Sean, what is the feasibility of getting DOC's clock-in times?
I think we can.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but if that's coming in, like, holy fuck, that would make it so much easier, because they send a number like Excel sheet, boom boom, send it to the ward and have them divvy it out.
So what I think the problem is so you saw Tony's, right?
Yes. Yep.
So how it's like all jumbled up like that?
Oh yeah, but
like we're gonna run into that issue a lot as well.
That's because not hard. We can make a formula, I think. I'm kind of we kind of got some wizards, you know what I'm saying? Like, they take it, they can. It was clock in, clock out, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, yeah. So there's a clock in, clock out, but there's no clock out if you don't clock out and the weather changes.
Oh,
yeah. There's different conditions for signing out, whether it be there's a clock out.
What if you fall asleep? What if you force yourself asleep? Does it clock out?
It'll clock you. Well, you'll get clocked in as unemployed.
Well, that's only if you take like a bus or something.
So,
or, like you have a relative.
So what you're saying is,
I think if you just fall asleep, like you go to sleep on your own fruition, then I don't know that it logs that.
It does, because I don't usually clock out, but when I was doing auditing,
IT told me. Let me read it.
You guys
Nino,
have
is
a
that-
direct link to IT because there's some things that I would like to bring up.
Oh boy.
Mostly
Don't know
skills.
about a direct link.
Yeah, no.
Mm.
It's not.
Still, yeah, I don't know if I can
Son.
reach out as well. I'm still concerned about the fact that the MDTs in the prison don't work.
It's like sending a telegram back in, the late 1800s. You would send it out and you might get a reply.
Oh yeah. It's more like I feel like
You
it's
wouldn't even
more
know if
like
they've read it.
more
Bro,
like praying in the church or something.
I feel bad. I feel bad.
What,
Well, at least we know
But
these
like
gods are
I've
real.
tried to explain this
I
topic
sometimes doubt it.
in the
what
best
I was
I
told
see
last
way I
time
could.
was
But it
when you wake up, you're unemployed. You sign
I
into
mean,
your job,
yes,
you leave
there is
unemployed.
levels of access, right? Like you can, but there's a scare, right?
so
Like you
we
don't
have
I don't know,
identical
man.
or almost identical timestamps to another blog where there's
The immediate panic.
job. Okay, so yeah, it'll say that it'll just say they left the job on the logs if they just went to bed. Like if you just go to bed by your own choice. And,
Yo, openly, I don't have that either, mind
yeah,
you,
if you go to
Chad.
bed by your own choice,
like
it'll just say you left the job,
like
rather
you know,
than
like
the
okay, like
typical
Alakai
unemployment
happened to be
status
in
that
chat
you-
yesterday, and someone was like, you know,
and then
had
there's no
unfortunately
log if-
said,
if
"Oh,
they're signed in
Nino
and the
can
weather
get
changes.
these vehicles, right?" Because like Alakai said that I did it, but he happened to be on chat, and I asked him, you know, like right then and there. But like, bro,
But also what
I
I
ain't
will
gonna be
say
hitting up the
is
devs like
when
that's
this
very
one was
bad,
given,
right? Even
it's not
even with the
supposed to
RP with
be
Nick, you know, when the
for,
sanitation with the with the
like,
things or
a
whatever,
lot of people
it's
to
like
see.
I've known Nikes
It's
for
just
a
supposed
while,
to
and I'll
be
kind of like
for,
nudge it a little bit, and then
like,
if he's
checking
kind of like
records.
positive on the conversation, you know,
personally or interpersonally, like
but
A
like
to B.
it's not good, you know. That's why that's what I've been trying to convey. It's like it's not a good thing, you know. You don't want to be
That makes
hitting him up
sense.
right. It's like last thing you want to
I do know
unnecessary
that
pressure to people
just
that
getting Tony's was
feel
a
like
lot
advice.
of work for them to get.
Yeah, I'm confused.
John is explaining it to you, by the way.
Is there a reason why this is
I already know
more
how it works.
beneficial to do
He's
than
explaining it to
using
her.
sliders?
So what Nino's saying, it gives us like an accurate, like we can pay people an hourly.
But
We
they
don't have to
get
worry
paid
about
an
the salary.
hourly. It's just that it comes out of the Blaine County account.
Well, I think the idea would be that you could put that slider to the lowest, right? And then it could be then post facto compensated, right?
Well, actually, so
Or
I mean, that's-
alternatively, it's left like that, but then instead of having to take photos of the thing, like that could just churn out true numbers, right?
before the the email chain changed, DOC was getting, they would, and I was DOC at the time, we would clock in, at the front desk, but we would also clock in online, and then we would make an additional amount of money from the DOJ directly through that. So they would pay us,
Mm-hmm.
it was like $1,200 an hour in addition to the $700 that we were making.
But that was when DOC was under the state, which they're not anymore.
Right. But it's essentially the same thing, though, is that like if we're dividing who is paying them, it would work to give them a way to clock in through multiple facets.
Yeah, but that also requires somebody to monitor that.
Right. So that's honestly, I think the best option is probably just I will, each Monday I'll bring in a picture of the slider, how much they've been paid in the past 7 days. And then, we'll figure out the divide from there.
Sure. Okay.
If you guys excuse me, I gotta take care of a nightmare situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Tony, do you know when is the fight today?
The CFC fight?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
the-
That's this
Nothing
Friday.
Today, I don't think.
I don't think it's today. I thought it was.
No, the
Oh,
weigh-in was
tomorrow,
today.
3
The weigh-in
p.m.
just happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Tomorrow. Can you help me out? I have problems.
Yo, this is gonna be sick. Wait, Sebastian is fighting Alan Kyles? Oh my god, this is so sick, dude. All right, cool.
Anything else, Princess?
That's
Oh
all
my
for
god,
me.
they
I think
added
other
an
than that, I
AR
just
to
have do
this.
some legislative writing.
Did you do the scraps guidelines already? You updated that so I can close it?
Oh, Roselle told me about that. So is it not updated? I thought that it was it didn't, like, the issue was that it never got the, like, this is
It never got the
constitutionally
approval. Like,
accurate.
it's past the 5 days, for 3 days.
Well, if it passes and we don't say anything, you just put it in. I didn't want to get rid of it until
Okay.
you were done. I didn't want to like close it and then you wouldn't be able to find it.
In that case, you can close it, and I will update it right now.
Who's currently signing off on scrap stuff today? Is it clerks? Is it
Clerks can do it. My cabinet can do it. I think Quentin does it a lot.
I got you. And is it all recorded somewhere?
Not
No.
from
No?
DOJ side.
There is a reason for that. But I would need to email you why.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing, Perry, that we also need to talk about at some point. But I think it's probably better to do it that way.
I'm gonna
Also,
rip
just-
the Band-Aid.
Just email it to me, Princess, if it's
Yeah.
the reason.
Yeah.
Go ahead and rip the Band-Aid.
Go rip the Band-Aid.
There's like crack and like all kinds of other drugs that I'm hearing is like going through scraps right now, and like apparently it's been
so-
happening for like a minute, and this
Yes.
goes against the very clear tenets that were noted to us when it opened. As
Yeah.
my general concern is, I'm gonna walk very carefully on this tightrope here. Is something crack or is it sugar? Is one person seeing it as crack while another isn't? What is, like, you know what I'm saying?
It's a tough one. Delver and I, during Mumble's administration, Delver and I had a meeting with the justices at the time and the federal government about that kind of stuff, because it is really difficult to figure it out, because, you know, it's like
Well, that was that's the owner of scraps that we talked to
right. Wait, who was?
when we had that meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't know, because I wasn't mayor at the time, and that was kind of Delver's thing, so I'm not really 100% sure what the consensus was, but it kind of.
So so what I can say here, and because I've had this conversation with a couple of our clerks just to make sure it wasn't them who was doing it. So stuff like crack or whatever the case may be, none of us should be approving that, because it's just sugar. It's not real.
Oh wait, why would
Like,
we not
if-
approve it if it's sugar?
Because we shouldn't be approving that.
We shouldn't be approving anything that has the names of very dangerous
'Cause people
drugs.
People might overreact. and
Does
think
it
that it's
look
real.
like crack when you look at it?
Is a brown bag.
Is there a label that says crack on it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that's weird.
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
It's
you're
weird, but
absolutely right. I mean,
the
that's
unfortunate thing is that, like, there are ways to smuggle things into
let me-
San
let me-
Andreas
let me
without
put it-
customs, but
Let me put it this way: it's not up to any of us or anybody that we employ to approve that.
Mm-hmm.
So there is. Oh my Lord, have mercy. So,
Like if somebody wanted to get that smuggled in, they'd have to get it smuggled in.
oh wait, now I'm confused again. Wait, so
Yeah,
like,
I'm-
So
extra confused.
So when it comes to scraps, when people approve, the reason we don't log stuff is that there are some certain items that, you know, should be approved, but they didn't come from scraps. Just, you know, when we click that button, that is the only mechanism and way through which that can occur.
The way I see it, right, is like, you know, when you're ever a hostage at a bank, right, and the police, you know, afterwards they're like, I need to search you, but I'm not going to be looking for anything that you have that might be illegal. I'm specifically looking for something that they might have placed on you related to the bank robbery. And so if you've got something else illegal on you, you know, generally, depending on the cop, I guess, they will.
I don't
kind
know.
of
I'm confused. I don't want to guess.
intentionally
This isn't something we can guess
that's
on.
not what they're looking for. That's not their job at that moment. Their job is to make sure you're safe. Their job is to make sure that you didn't have anything, you know, planted on you by the robbers. But at that moment, it's not their responsibility to enforce, you know, in general, that kind of stuff. And now sometimes they do. It's definitely something that happens a lot. But I think I see scraps as kind of similar to that, in that, you know, we are.
I have no idea what
like,
she's
those
saying.
of us who can approve scraps, basically we're just like approving a shipment of something, like, you know, and we can, I guess, like stick a knife in the birthday cake to see if there's secretly a bomb inside of it. But it's not like we're not opening people's mail. We're just making sure that
this is not how.
I don't know, drawings done by robots.
Nino, I sent you the because Barrett had a conversation with a member of the federal government, and I sent you that conversation.
So
it should clear things up.
So to address it again,
how do I make sense of this? Is my problem, right? So
make sense of what?
So to roll back to make sure I understand, and I'm going to look at the thing that was sent is so when scraps first came into place, it was the request was made like we're talking about like a year ago now, 9 months or something. There was very like explicit, like very clear that illegal substances or things that could be confused into illegality would not be something that would be approved, and that the approvee would know exactly what it is that would be made. Is that not what scraps is anymore? Now scraps is like hidden boxes of God knows what.
No.
And if that, okay, it's not that.
Conversation I sent you make clear up a bit.
Okay, yeah.
But to say what I was going to say.
Can you send me that, Murray?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Just for reference.
The way that it got explained to me is, when it comes to like dangerous stuff like drugs or viruses or something like that, that has to be. It's not none of us are going to approve stuff like that. You will always deny it. Because it's not up to us to approve it.
So anything, okay.
And then coming from like a consumer perspective, right? So let's say maybe the crack was legit, right? Perry would go and get it tested and check it. And then Perry would come back and say, yes, this is real crack. But until like the hospital tests the drug and see if it is a real drug or if it's just sugar, that's like the secondary check that we can do. But none of us or anybody we employ should be approving anything like that at all.
Does that conversation clear things up a bit?
No, it makes it worse.
Yeah, I'm also I'm confused too.
Hypothetically, if there was, and I understand that there's more, at the end of the day, right, we need to be able to speak to this, and that's kind of where it gets a little awkward, because now even the fact that we're having this conversation and having a tough time kind of talking about it is sort
I
of
think
like
the last sentence on the first image is like the one that makes the most sense in this regard.
Oh, in terms of why? Okay, well, okay. So Junior Huntley works for me. I tell him to make put a make me a bomb. He approves it. Now I got a bomb. I'm gonna go blow up something. But I get caught. Now it's not a bomb anymore.
Yeah, that's above all our heads if you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I get that, right? But I don't know. This is.
So we have to like if we the scraps approvers are looking at something, you know, coming through customs, and are like this looks a little bit like something that might be drugs. We have to call in TSA or
No, you just deny it. It's not up to you to approve it.
I see what Sean's saying with it. Just because we're in a position to approve stuff, it doesn't mean like for stuff like that that's questionable, would it make sense for us to approve or let
But
it
then
go?
so what is it? They have to call TSA?
Yes.
They need to
Ah,
clear
okay.
it with TSA.
They need
hate
to they need to call TSA to get that through.
If someone wants to smuggle new drugs in, they need to call the big cartels and get their approval.
And if I could call TSA, I'd be doing that 24/7. Like not to smuggle drugs in, but that's
I
that's
feel
fine. It's just it's such a hurdle, I guess.
I feel given that, you know, there's I would love if this whatever that is should probably be somewhere else, like in the sewers. You know what I mean?
I would agree
because you know, I will tell you from the input I've been getting from whether it's like law enforcement people, etc., right? Because we've been talking about like throughout the city, it's like, yo, there's fucking crack going around, right? And now we're learning that it's not crack, but it's actually sugar. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, those
like
menus, because you know, stuff that comes from scraps, it seems to all weigh the same, and sometimes you know you'll have one tab of LSD that weighs a kilo, and
but
then
what
a
if it's
£5 bag of
like,
salvia that's also a kilo.
So, may I ask, is everything that comes out of scrap not actually what it is? You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying?
We're
Like,
living in a simulation.
Yeah. That's
okay. Stop. Let's not go there. It is what it is, right? But when it comes to drugs or like infectious diseases or something like that, right, that could alter the course of the entire city, it's something you would want to take to the hospital to get checked to make sure that it is what it is or what it can do.
But like,
okay, but I don't. But if you don't have access to that,
what do you mean?
Yeah, that's.
What?
You don't have access to a doctor?
I get a
TSA
bag
doctor.
of crack. I go.
No, you don't need it.
Smoke
you don't need
the
a TSA
crack.
doctor.
Am I dying or am I getting hyper?
So unfortunately, we've had this issue already where somebody had a
extreme placebo.
Well, they had an injector with sugar in it, and we're telling people that it's a super infectious disease, and they were taking people to humane labs and injecting them with it. And that's where that conversation that Falconer sent you came from, is because they were kidnapping people, taking them to humane labs, and injecting them with this infectious disease. Some people were experiencing symptoms, and then some people weren't because
all got different immune systems.
And that's where the whole conversation came in. And
this is very confusing.
So serious right now.
Yeah, I think the argument that I'm trying to put forward is like PD's coming to me, people are coming to me, and they're freaking out, and I don't know how to explain this kind of conversation to them. That's the problem I'm running into.
Hard to think
right?
about
because the logical step is, where is it coming from? And then it's like, okay, well, someone is mysteriously approving this. Well, how do we know who's approved it? Well, there is nobody. So it's like, you know, PD's just like skipping, and then everyone's like, you know,
it should be able to come back to whoever imported it, because it's not about who approved it. Like, you know, just because the X-ray machine missed
something like that would
in customs.
Well, something like that would come back to who approved it, but again, it wouldn't be to us to punish them for that.
Well, right, but like, for example,
wait, what do you mean?
What if it's like,
no, it is us though.
You know, this is actually, you know, someone chopped someone's leg off. They got a human leg. That's bad. You know, that's super illegal. But then they like, you know, drop the leg somewhere. It gets put in lost.
Yeah, but she's not approving it.
That leg coming back to
it sounds like the scraps. Actually, we're learning now is actually,
you know, I don't want to put a check mark on a
other
package
things.
That's full of a human leg.
And so
but
we don't.
Part of that conversation is that
but they have the leg.
it's not for us to be tracking.
It does happen.
It's-
No, but like it
well-
doesn't come back to who approved it.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, but is that so it doesn't come back to who approved it? So right. 'Cause
There
the way
is
I
no
see it,
log?
I'm not
Is that
checking
what I'm-
people's mail, you know?
Am I correct to
So-
say there is
so-
no log, so we don't know who approved
on the
it, right?
back end, like the clock
Yeah.
in, there is a log. We can pull and see exactly who did it and how much they charged for it, what it was,
Yeah.
and all that.
Like here's I think the initial issue we ran into is that we used to have everyone log all the stuff that they approved as scraps in a report. And then one day we notice someone approved an FIB keycard. It's like, well, what the fuck is that?
Oh my God, brother. No
it's like-
shot.
Right. So someone approved an FIB keycard, and approving that to, you know, further whatever the person that requested it is trying to do, that big thumbs up from us. But then it coming back to the person that approved it just because they wanted to enable something isn't good. So when it comes to stuff that is like legally dubious or illegal, that isn't like drugs or some sort of health effect and stuff, or like weaponry,
Yeah, but what?
you know, it we might click the button, but we don't, you know, it came from somewhere else.
Okay, now I'm even more confused. So, and I'm going to be the fact that we're even having this conversation, I think genuinely is highlighting that there is an issue
Yeah, the
here.
last time we had a conversation about this, it had to happen on an island,
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's always going to somewhat come down to individual clerks and people's judgment, and that's
Not
always going to
everybody
be kind of
understands that they're not
difficult.
supposed to be approving stuff like that.
Well, right. Well, that's the complication. Is that like, you know, obviously
That's
these
not complicated. If
drugs
it's a
and
drug,
stuff.
you don't approve it.
Sure, but like, okay, for example, lean.
You don't approve it.
That's not a scheduled drug.
It's a drug.
That's,
It
It's
is
a drug, though. It is a drug.
It literally is a drug.
so you can't approve what, like paracetamol?
No.
No. Any
Okay.
drugs
Can't
or that, you
approve-
cannot approve any
What
of
about
it.
well,
Can't
these
approve aspirin,
like
you
tarot
can't
places or
approve
something that
anything.
are doing like herbal remedies?
I think there needs to be
That's the-
another island, whatever,
Yeah,
wherever
I
that
think-
island is.
I
I think that island needs.
Yeah.
I think
we
there's a
need
lot
to
of
have that.
missing.
Yeah, here Junior's got an island.
Yeah, no, we could do it all over at Barry Island. I want to highlight because I think this room is getting a better idea of what's going on. I'm still not entirely, like, some of the email sort of explains a little bit, but I'm left kind of holding my dick a little bit on it. Like, there. Poof.
I feel like if there was an understood consensus, then we wouldn't really need to have this conversation.
Yes.
But it's
And
I
if
don't
there
think
isn't,
everyone understands things the same way, even within like currently
Okay,
within all
but
the clerks and everything.
you just argued that drugs aren't drugs when they're drugs.
no, but
Like,
Well,
I
to be
I'm saying
fair,
that
understand where
Sean,
there's,
Nino's
I'm saying
coming
that there's
from,
a
but-
line. I'm saying that there's
Yeah.
a line, and because
Yeah.
like, for example, right? You know, I could make penicillin by, you know, using moldy fruit. And so if I import moldy fruit, or like a specific, you know, spore, is that drugs? Or for example, if I imported what
That's like
ashwagandha,
saying- Well,
like
similar
that's
to, like, when
technically a
people have
drug.
stones
You know,
that-
you buy it at the pharmacy.
Or that's
I'm
similar
saying
to
that
people
everyone
who have
is going
stones that
to-
make you feel a certain type of way. Like, it's if the placebo works for you, then sure, but it's different than importing cocaine, importing crack.
Well, right, but
importing
it's very easy
LSD.
to point at like outliers on both ends. But there is a line, and not everyone's going to understand exactly where the line
Yeah,
is in exactly the same way.
I understand what Princess is saying, and let me give a working example, right? And tell me if this doesn't line up with what you're trying to convey here. Is I am new as a clerk, and I hear someone approved cocaine, right? Or no, crack, right? I do not have the privilege of being in this meeting, right? I don't know that there's higher level sign-offs and reasons and enabling and all that. I don't know that the hospital can review the authenticity. and someone comes to me, but I only hear a part of it, that, hey, it's for something enabling. And someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm going to make whatever, fucking crocodile, right? And oh, cool. I'm not approving it, but I'm clicking the button, and now there's crocodile going around, right? Did they do something wrong, right?
Well, so
are they liable? Where did it come from?
In that scenario, yes, they did something wrong, because when it comes to like clerks and even judges, when clerks get trained or understand that stuff like that, they deny. If they're in doubt, just deny it. Because if it's meant to get approved, someone else will approve it. But if you're on, especially when clerks are trained, if you're not sure, just leave it or deny it.
Again, there's always going to be that middle ground. Like I've seen someone tried to hand me at one point a love potion or something, and it's like, okay, obviously, me knowing what I know about the world and science, it's probably just that they've put like a bunch of random herbs or something in a bottle, and they're saying, oh, it'll make you fall in love, and so, not believing that it's a real love potion, I'm gonna not have an issue approving it. But then let's say, there's a possibility that could be.
I love that this is enabling, but it shouldn't be in character characters approving it.
In a different sense, a truth.
And it sounds like that is happening, and now that adds another layer of awkwardness.
It's in the eye of the beholder to say,
because a character is saying, I'm enabling this, so like, what's stopping me from saying
thing? And like I was saying, like the method.
I don't know. I'm confused.
Certain drug, like if you want to, if I want to import vitamin supplements, is that a drug? Is like, can I accept if someone wants to do like protein powder or something like that, or like, I don't know, like I said, ashwagandha, or something that is a substance that is used pharmaceutically but is kind of over the counter.
I think at the end of the day,
that is like needs to be generally regulated.
This is an OOC conversation, it feels like. And the problem is, we're trying to find a way to translate.
All I'm saying is that everyone's going to have a different
question,
and no matter how well clerks are trained,
because we keep bringing it up. Because remember, prior to this meeting, we thought clerks or Blaine County is actually approving.
And to me, that just spells out that there is
this place
an issue that needs addressing.
And now, how do you RP it? I don't know. That's the problem. I would love to be invited on an island one day to discuss this, because I think there are areas that are very hard. We're treading a very difficult line of conversation, and I think for me, the reason I brought up the conversation is I'm getting asked a bunch of things, and I do not know how to translate the truth of what is happening in a way that makes sense in San Andreas, so that they can walk away knowing what is happening, and they can. Am I making sense here? I don't know. There's like a translation issue. I think I'm getting a better understanding of what's happening. I don't know how to tell people that without giving them a book. You know what I mean? Like, your guide for understanding what this scrap item is, and is it like what it is? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, the way I'm interpreting it is basically, if I see something that I feel like shouldn't be approved, regardless of what it's called, if it's something that doesn't align with what we could approve, to just not touch it or just to deny it. For me,
on the list, right? Yeah. I think where I got even more confused though is, and tell me if I'm wrong here, the Falconer, but there might be things that you as a person, and I'm not casting judgment here, just to be clear, might approve crack to enable something, but that's a little straight. It's unfortunate you're having to approve it, because in a way you improved it. Why not, Shano Daniel Sino or something? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, in an ideal world, there would be somewhere that this could happen that isn't scraps, and scraps is just used for.
Yeah, like, why isn't it in the fucking sewers? Or like, I don't know, Danielson wakes up, literally like just like the people that pay their tax money and approve it, right? Because Otherwise, it creates these such odd dynamics like we're having right now. Is like now I'm questioning. Wait, why did you approve crack? Like what the fuck? Like right? But
The
it's like
issue-
no, pretend I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not putting this on anyone. It's just very awkward, especially if someone challenges me on it. Right? Like, why is this happening? What do I say?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely awkward. I think the reason why there isn't like an alternative version or like another place that this can happen is because there always needs to be someone approving it just to make sure that people aren't using employing robots to do work for them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so the way I see it, right, when I think of scraps, and this is maybe just how I justify it to myself, it's basically, it's customs. We are the mechanism by which packages get delivered to the people that they need to get delivered to. And so it's still like it's a federal crime to root through someone's mail. Our job is just to make sure that, it's a real person on both sides of it, like that that the packages are moved from the ships to the land, Like we're not responsible for going through the packages. It's not like when people get gifts sent to prison. It's just customs. Do you have anything to declare? No? Okay, then I'll put this through.
I think we really should pause on this and have it on an island somewhere because
no, we should have this talk on the island.
this is so difficult, I think, and there's probably raise your hand if you want to wait until an island meeting. Hell yeah.
When would we even have an island meeting?
I play Deadlock at usually 2 hours before Storm if you want to join up. We can like rage at the other team and like talk about this, like, Oscar Charlie style.
I only know Predlock.
I'm sure we can figure something out. I think at the end of the day, like, I think I genuinely believe that this room has 90% understanding of things, and really, it would be good to. We'll figure something out. I think it'll be easier to bring our concerns to the table and know how to let people that ask us questions what we say to them. So, okay, cool. All right. Anything else, fellas, ladies?
I think so.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, easy. Okay.
Well met.
May I recommend something? And let's maybe group vote possibly, unless one has a big objection. Is that perhaps for the time being, if there is a hard to answer question around the space, maybe we would say, it's being investigated by the proper authorities. We don't know the status of it yet.
Stuck in customs.
I just sent you guys something that I had received in response to issues with scraps months ago. Just to give more context so you guys understand a little bit more as well. Isn't that right? I sent it to all you guys in here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, I got nothing else. It was a good meeting. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty.
All right, guys.
And break.
Yeah.
When do I have to pay asset fees?
Let me break it down to you what's happening. Holy shit. Yeah, I think I'll Do you guys want to try to set it up, or do you want me to help try to set it up?
I just don't know how we would do it.
Oh, easy. I would just, yeah, let me cook. I have there's a lot of complex things I want to say that I cannot say
Yep.
via my,
That's-
because I like it. I want to be clear. I love the idea of enabling, but then the rest of the city doesn't know how to react to it, is what it is.
Yeah.
And it might be as simple as a hard enough advocation. There may be angles that were not considered by the particular and federal entities because they haven't seen what I'm hearing, what you might be hearing individually, what Perry might be hearing individually. And so there may be a better solution so that we don't get in these awkward scenarios, right? And this is not to say that those enablements shouldn't go away, but rather, right, if something that shouldn't happen happens, that makes sense for it to happen, it can be handled in the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to what I'm afraid of is it becoming a skip situation, which I'll tell you right now is what's happening with the PD, right? They'll be like, it will become reductionist where it becomes, oh, it's a scrap thing, where that scrap thing was actually intended to enable and involve them too. Am I making a little bit of sense? Right? Like that FIB card, yeah. You know, there's probably a lot of, actually, I know a lot about that one. That one was great. That was sick, right? But then if awkwardly it turns out that Charles Danger or whatever, let's say, you know, Sean approved it, and now all of a sudden it's like, even though we're not going to do anything, or PD might not do anything because some people might know, now all of a sudden Sean's got, people are like, oh my God, dude, Sean fucking made a fake FIB card.
The FIB key card thing, we were like, okay, so this person is logged as approving it. They shouldn't have, as far as we know. So do we punish them? But then it was like,
and
no,
like,
they did. They just approved it to enable, and it's like, well, that shouldn't be punished. So that's why we just stopped logging and stuff.
Well,
like
it
that.
should
So
or shouldn't. I don't. But there's a key bit here. Is did they do it, or did their soul do it? Right. And
so
without knowing that
I think
distinction,
explains it
that's
better,
important.
because the person who did the FIB card is the person who I talked to with what I sent.
Yeah. And I think those are the key things that making that distinction, because there are going to be cases where there can be cases, I think, where the improver should be taking the weight of it, but not knowing when it is and when it isn't. I don't know. I think you guys understand what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
So I think it's easy, solvable. It's just hard to do it in the city. But, and plus there's always that twat, you know what I mean?
Hey, before I head out, Sean Falconer, I just wanted to say I don't know what a tree pos is.
Oh my Lord, have mercy! It's a gang, brother. It's like
I'm not gonna mention that. I'm sure you don't know what that is, guys.
Yo, hey, oh fuck.
Even ask.
Yo, I was so confused. I'm like, are you admitting you just sold a gang of fucking like
I went. Did I just hear? Did you just say a gang's name?
a gang? The government bought it. It's like the shit happening on a forum right now. Oh my God.
I was like,
that shit blew my mind.
That I don't want to point out because it will be funny if I don't. If you look at the Constitution, it says these jurisdictions will be outlined as noted on the map. The waters and the islands surrounding the mainland will be under shared state jurisdiction. So that island isn't ours to sell anyway.
Oh, you're right.
Wait, state
Wait,
jurisdiction?
it's ours.
Yeah, the walls and islands surrounding the mainland will be under shared state jurisdiction.
Yo, you wanna be fucked up? We should do a vote on. Oh my God, we do a vote and we sell it to them for $1. No. But that's a good fucking find. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
I do think that the spirit of that was meant to be inclusive of, but I like this other angle a lot more. I think that's.
And I think it's funny to have them.
Oh my
this
God! If it goes to
propaganda
court, oh my God! Now I really hope it goes to court. That'd be a fucking amazing gauntlet
That would
drop.
be. I would bring popcorn and a bingo card. How many
Oh,
times
man.
was the state mentioned?
I hope I didn't
God.
sound like I was diminishing anyone's opinion. By the way, on that scrap thing, it was just
Oh,
was
no,
like
no.
No, it's
a
a
very difficult conversation.
Yeah, it's a very tricky line because the reason it came up before was there was
Mm-hmm.
some drug that the DOJ denied, and then Delver and Mumbles were like, "But why?"
There was also
It was
free
like
drugs.
salvia.
There was free drugs that got approved that I did drug trials for and sent them to you guys, and I never had anything back. That was salvia. I think it was MDMA and something called clown DMT.
Yeah, because it's like,
Yep.
did those go through the proper
Channels.
screenings and
Yeah.
whatnot? Yeah.
I will say I love that these meetings are at least productive. You know what I mean? Like it's
I mean,
made them very
a lot has
pleasant,
happened.
even though they get tough at times. You know.
I mean, it's built my confidence of actually doing those pieces of legislation. So, this week's gonna be hell.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna get out there.
See ya.
See ya. I'm gonna go too. I need to go check
Hey.
the messages.
You've been crushing it, by the way. I want to eventually, only till after courts is up and going.
Right.
Like, oh wait, hold on. Sorry, hold that thought real quick. Wait, so is the vial real?
Oh.
The one that I talked to about.
Yeah, no, that was
That is
one
real?
time, Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was one time. Yeah.
Oh my God, I already have a solution. Wait a minute. Oh my God. You know what? I just need to walk away. I got a solution. Come with me. Let's just so Faulkner can hear this. I just had this like epiphany. You know what would solve a lot of it if in the event we can't get an island conversation, whatever, is that maybe there's a document, maybe even this legislation that actually when these things are found and tested, it gets added so that when someone does see it, it's like, you know, oh, we found crack. It's like, oh, but it's actually sugar. Like, you know, now it's in a list.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe even on
Yeah.
that scraps document. So now it's like, oh no, it's not. You can see it right there. You know, they tested it. It's fake.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, so it's not.
a picture
A
of it as
picture
well.
of it. A picture
Yeah.
of it with what's written on the back of the
Because
bag
you know
and stuff.
someone could submit. Two people could submit
I think I've
something
seen
called crack.
Yes.
two things of I think
It
MDMA.
removes the word of mouth necessity, especially if 6 months from now someone still had some and no one remembers, right?
Yeah.
The only reason the MDMA one came up again was because the officer Remy, they found some on somebody again.
Yeah, I think you know
Yep.
another issue with drugs that come from scraps is they are very
They're very hard to wash down the drain.
Yep.
Yep, I know.
Mm.
You know
Okay.
they don't degrade at all.
Okay. Well, all right. If you guys need me, I'll be around. I'm going to go chill for a bit.
Chilling.
All good.
Dun 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 dun. Okay, so I'll explain why it was confusing, and I think this is important because I don't want people to hear this and get very confused as to what's happening and what's not happening. So I'll outline it, right? Bear in mind, I don't know all the details because what was sent to me, like, is a lot of words, and I don't want to read, you know, 3 pages worth of stuff right now, but I ran through it real quick. I think what's happening